Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen. Alrighty. So once again, thank you for coming. My name is Miss Norton, and we're just gonna be discussing this year's so far progress with Athena in math. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So at the beginning of the semester, I started out with Athena having a sort of interview, a getting to know you interview, and I asked her some of the things that she likes to do. And this is the list that she gave me. She told me that she likes to play dress up. She loves singing her ABCs, which I have noticed in class. She loves her ABCs. She likes science. I think that might be because we don't do a lot of it in kindergarten. So when we do get to do it, she gets very excited for it. She says she likes to cook with her parents. She likes playing outside with her family. She likes to garden and she loves learning at school, which I can see in her. She loves learning. She loves learning new things. She likes figuring things out. So I do see that in her at school. This is just a little Venn diagram that we did at the beginning of the semester where we were getting to know each other a little bit, telling each other some things about ourselves to get a little bit more comfortable. We talked about our favorite foods. Hers was hot wings, mine was just pasta. Favorite animals. Hers was owls, mine were squids, things like that. And then we found some things that we have in common. We both love both of our parents. We both like science. We both have glasses. And we both like the color pink. So this was just a little activity that we did to get to know each other and see things that we have in common, things that we have that are different. And it was really fun to get to know her a little bit and find some things out about her that aren't necessarily related to school, a little bit about herself. And then we did our community walk. This was something that we did where we used a location in the community to form some sort of math lesson. So Alina loves to play outside with her friends at recess. They love to play tag and chase each other on the playground. And she also loves to swing on the swing set. So one of the things that we used to form a math question was the steps on the jungle gym. We asked the question, if so-and-so went up and down the jungle gym so many times, how many steps did they climb? And they would just say, okay, well, there are this many steps and they did it this many times. So we would count and figure out how many steps that student climbed. And that was just an easy way to create a word problem out of something in their community, in their lives that they enjoy. And it helped a little bit to make math more fun for them. And they seem to really like it. And then we're going to go ahead and get onto the problem sequence packet that we did. On the first page of the problem sequence packet, Athena knew what she had to do to find the correct answer almost immediately. She asked me to repeat the question once, and then she sat for a second to think, and then grabbed the counters and began to solve the problem. She didn't need much help from me to solve it. So she figured it out on her own for the most part. And that was really nice to see that she understood it. And she just used her counters and figured it out on her own. So that was really cool. And we went ahead and moved on to the next page because she did this all on her own. And then on the second page, it wasn't quite as easy for her. The first problem is what we're going to be talking about right now. She struggled a lot more with this one. She has some trouble in general with word problems. The last one, I read it twice and I think it helped her to visualize the numbers. This one, she had a little bit more trouble because it was a difference issue, like it was subtraction rather than addition. And she had a lot more trouble with the way that it was worded. I think that word problem issues are very common with young children. They don't do a lot of reading and they don't do a lot of problem solving in their lives. So when given these problems, they have a tendency to get a little confused because it's not a simple what's this plus this. They have a little bit more of an issue with these types of things. But this problem in particular stumped her. She couldn't seem to grasp the concept of how many more does blank have than blank. And she just kept adding the numbers or telling me how many cars Sarita had instead of telling me how many more cars Sarita had. So she was just trying to give me the right answer instead of understanding the problem and finding the correct answer for herself. So because she couldn't figure this one out, we moved on to the second problem on this page, which she breezed through. This one was really good for her. She figured it out really quickly. She listened to me read it to her once, and then she thought for a second. You could tell it couldn't quite click. And then she asked me to repeat it to her. And she got her counters. She had them ready. And then as I read it pretty slowly for her. She used her counters as we went to solve the problem and solved it as I read it. So she was able to use it kind of as a story. And she got the right answer by the time I finished reading the problem, which was really, really awesome to see. And because it was so easy for her, I decided to try it again with some more difficult numbers to see if it would be as easy the second time. And she finished it just as quickly. So that was really awesome to see. And I was really excited for her when we finish this one. Alrighty, so next up is our subitizing task. This is the final activity we'll be talking about today. This activity involved showing Athena an image. I showed it to her for about 5 seconds, and then I took it away and I asked her what she saw. So I showed her this image, the first image, the blue one. I showed that to her and I asked her after 5 seconds what she saw and how many dots there were. And she immediately knew the answer, which was really awesome to hear. She saw it for 5 seconds. I took it away and she knew that there were 6 dots because she used her strategy of knowing and recognizing the 10 frame, which we use a lot in our math. So she was familiar with that. And it was really awesome that she recognized it and used that as part of her strategy. And she was extremely quick in answering as well. She looked at it, I took it away. She went like this for like 2 seconds and then she said 6. She knew immediately how many it was. She just had to count them in her head, which is really, really cool for me to see. And it's nice to know that using the 10 frames is helpful in other instances. So that was a really awesome activity to do with her. And then, so for next steps with Athena and with the rest of the class are to spend more time with word problems. I want to get them all more comfortable with word problems and reading them, even if that means giving them word problems with pretty simple sight words. That way we can get them more comfortable reading while we're getting them more comfortable with math. And I want them to be able to do some without me reading through them and explaining them for them. I want them to be able to read it and then think about what the words mean and solve it themselves, which I know is kind of a lot to ask from kindergartners, but I would really like to see where they can get when we try this. This is especially important in Athena's case with word problems containing that how many more does blank have than blank scenario as she struggles to grasp this question. It doesn't quite compute, I don't think, for her because of the way that it's worded, because it doesn't say subtract blank from blank. So definitely explaining that how many more portion to them, I think will be helpful. And I do plan to do that as well. And then what can you do at home? The most important thing and the most helpful thing for you to do at home is to incorporate mathematical words and phrases into your daily lives. For example, knowing that Athena enjoys cooking with you, an easy way to get her comfortable with that phrase that she can't quite grasp, that how many more problems, we could use that type of phrasing while cooking. So something along the lines of, we had 2 cups of water and 4 cups of oil, and that means that we had 2 more cups of oil than water. And making sure that she understands that. And in that type of low pressure situation, it's a little bit easier for her to feel comfortable asking questions and showing that confusion. Whereas in class, she and most of the students kind of look at you like, yeah, I get it, even if they don't quite get it because they don't want you to know that they don't get it. So it could be really helpful to incorporate that type of language into y'all's lives so that she's more comfortable using it in her daily life at school. Alrighty, thank you so much for coming. That's about all that I have for today. Did you have any questions for me, comments, concerns? Awesome. Well, I am so excited to work with you and Athena for the rest of the year. And thank you so much again for coming.